We're all day, we're tired, we get home. Every day you should be learning something new. Not only is the technology and the innovations unbelievable, but it's even what we learn each time about structural issues.
Right.
And there's always new science out there to be learned.
You just talked about technology and the fact that technology is changing, but it is that technology that's making the education available to your members is sitting in their trucks or at their desks.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and that lovely little cell phone and all those apps.
Yeah. And taking a class online.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We've talked about education as being a major advantage of being a member of the NAHB.
Right.
What are some other advantages of membership? And I know you can go on for an hour.
I could.
But proceed, please.
Well, I think the biggest issue for me when I first joined NAHB, and the reason that I did, is it is the voice for residential building.
And your dues, and all of our dues, pay for the legislation that goes on our behalf.
Right. Right. It's an advocacy movement that we're involved in codes development. We're involved in regulatory. So when we start dealing with the lead paint issue, we were heavily involved in helping EPA develop its standard and those on-site work practices. I think that's the most valuable thing that NAHB does for the United States and homeowners. So as a remodeler member, you gain that opportunity. And when we deal with EPA and OSHA, and those are sometimes difficult arenas to work their way through, we help you with that. So we're there to kind of aid. I'm not going to say that I believe that some regulation is necessary, but I also believe that as building professionals, we need to understand how to maneuver that.
Wonderful.
To do it right and not get ourselves in trouble.
All right, now it's time for where the rubber meets the road with regard to our Pro podcast. Now, that would be familiar to you because you're up in Michigan, right?
There you go.
Motor capital of the world. And we ask our podcast guests to share with our Pro listeners 3 points for success for their business. And now it's your turn, Joe.
Number 1. Join a trade association of some sort, something that gives back to your industry, that also allows you an opportunity to network with other professionals in your industry. And I know that our younger generation is maybe less likely to join, but it's really important. Don't try to live in your own little shelter. You need to get out there and network. Second, determine what you do well. Don't try to be jack of all trades and all things to all people, because in the long run you will disappoint someone. And in a world where your reputation is your bread and butter, and what we have with social media, you can shoot yourself in the foot real fast.
And where your reputation is for everybody to enjoy with all of the online nonsense that can destroy you.
That for young builder remodelers, and that they just screwed up in that very first job.
Yeah.
They may be back working as a carpenter on somebody else's crew.
That's right. It never got out of the harbor, and it sunk.
We have been yelped once.
Yeah.
And here was the yelp. They wouldn't come out and meet with me on Saturday night. On Saturday night.
So that was considered a negative yelp.
Yes.
But what I wanted to do was find a way where that yelp could be promoted, because I want people to know that we don't come out to visit with clients on a Saturday night.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Attorneys and accountants don't do it.
No.
We don't do it either.
Now, if the plumbing failed in the upstairs bathroom
Different
and it's
story.
raining in the living room, then you come out.
Absolutely.
That's
different
right.
story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Different story. Okay.
All right. Next.
And then my number 3,
Yes.
never stop learning. Never think you know it all.
Lifelong
because you
learning.
never do.
Our thanks to Joanne Theunissen, chair of the NAHB Remodelers, the council within the National Association of Home Builders, for taking time from her rounds at the Remodeling Show and Deck Expo in Baltimore, Maryland, to join us. Find out more about the association on their website at nahb.org. You can also find out about her green building and design work at, you're going to love this, howlinghammerbuilders.com. That's howlinghammerbuilders.com.
Okay, everybody, loosen up those tool belts and relax. It's time for a quick bro tip from the Carey brothers.
In a democracy, one of the most valuable freedoms we have is our right to vote. Voting for a candidate who represents our principles and beliefs is precisely why we go to the polls. Once a candidate is elected to office, our work as individuals must continue. It really is important to remember that our elected officials are constantly bombarded by outside influences. These blitzes of information become of particular importance when they originate from those who may not have our particular best interests at heart. It's important to remember that once the elections are over, win, lose, or draw, you can do more. Did you know that when you pay a membership fee to a national trade organization, such as the National Association of Remodelers or the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, part of your dues are used to hire lobbyists to voice the concerns of the construction industry to our elected officials? Laws surrounding labor, workers' compensation insurance, business regulations, and more are brought to the attention of those in state and federal government. Hey, joining a trade association has other benefits. There is much to be learned by attending local meetings and associating with your peers.
Well, that's our podcast for today. Thanks for listening to this edition of CareyBrosPros, the podcast for construction professionals by construction professionals. Want more? Check out CareyBrosPros.com. You'll find articles and videos to help make your business a success.